Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to talk about tonight is how everything has come to a fever pitch. We are talking about assault weapons bans, mag bans, all resting on one man's shoulders. And if you have ever been told that elections don't matter, this one might not prove that point because it kind of shows in spades how important it is to get out and vote and do something. Everything will be linked in the description box below. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And please join me in welcoming back Ground News. This is one of my favorite sponsors because it provides data that we can use to better our fight every single day. Check this out. It shows you the coverage details of news sources, shows you the bias distribution of where they sit on the scale, shows you factuality, shows you ownership, even shows you left, right, and center, and shows you how the individual titles can impact the bias. It has a mobile app and it has a blind spot report, which shows you what the other side is thinking. This is something that is extremely useful. For example, check it out on our example right now. Virginia Democrats are sending gun control bills to a skeptical Governor Youngkin. High factuality and leaning left from the AP. This is essential information, and if you look at something that's popping like the U.S. Senate passing funding for Ukraine, 79 sources, and a full-on distribution in the same manner. You can get it for yourself. There's a link in the description box below. Go to ground.news/Langley. It's about $1 a month, $3 off, and get the Vantage subscription, and thank you to them for sponsoring this content. All right, my brothers and sisters, we have got to dive into this because this is all about Virginia. Now, here's the setup. We've heard a lot for a long time about how Virginia is going to ban everything under the sun for 2A. They're going to pass all the gun control bills that they want. And the answer that I have to that is, of course they are. That's not a question. The question was never, are the gun-controlling Democrats who ran on two things, abortion and gun control, and then took control of the House of Delegates in Virginia and the Senate, are they going to act on what they ran on in an election year? Yeah. Are they going to put pressure on the governor who's a Republican in a split government? Yeah. That was never a question. But this comes down to the point. If Governor Youngkin had not been the governor in this moment, in this time, these bad boys would be law, and I'm going to show you how close these are. Check this out. On Wednesday, in a 21-19 vote, so this is razor thin, lawmakers passed Senate Bill 2, which would create a Class 1 misdemeanor for anyone who imports, sells, manufactures, purchases, possesses, transports, or transfers an assault firearm. Quote, this is punishing people who believe they have a Second Amendment right to own firearms, the Republican senator said. It's not a belief, it's actually factually true. But this is something that I wanted to show you before we even get into what I'm going to bring forward from the AP. This is a separate article. All are linked. If this bill is passed, how do we get the gun from the criminals that don't care about laws? That is a key point. Criminals don't care about laws, right? We all say it. We all know it. Well, look what the Democrats said. There will always be criminals that don't care about laws. What this bill will do is reduce the number of firearms that are introduced to our streets, and by doing that, we'll keep guns safe. We'll keep these firearms, out of the hands of people that intend to do evil with them. So, from the own Democrats' mouth in Virginia, what you just heard was, well, we can't keep the criminals from doing it, so gun control doesn't work. We don't really care about the rights of the individuals who have done nothing wrong, so we're just going to take all guns. That way, if we cut it off at the source, there can't be any more guns, right? Yeah, because that's always worked. Ask New York, ask Illinois, ask California. It's a stupid principle. And also, it completely insults your Second Amendment rights across the board. But anyway, I just wanted to set that table. I want to say what they're actually thinking, all right? Now let's get into the AP. I'm going to show you what's going forward. And if Governor Youngkin is going to veto these, like he's signaling that he's going to, and then they have an ultimate defeat on their hands, and then we have a new fight in 2024. Check this out. Dozens of pieces of gun-related legislation that advocates say will bolster public safety are winding their way through Virginia's Democratic-controlled General Assembly, including a measure that would halt the sale of certain semi-automatic firearms. Now, it's an AR ban. They got a mag ban in there. They got all sorts of fun little goodies on the Democratic side. Of course they were going to pass them, right? It's not about if they were going to pass them. The story is about the governor at the top who's sitting there poised to veto them or betray his constituency and then have a whole lot of trouble. That's the point. Right? The question hanging over the bill is just how many Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin will veto. Youngkin, who generally towed the GOP party line on firearms rhetoric in his campaign, but notably did not receive the endorsement of the NRA, is a former private equity executive whose first 2 years in public office were spent with a GOP majority in the state House of Delegates that largely prevented Democratic gun bills from reaching his desk. So they're arguing from the point of the House of Delegates shielded him, so Governor Youngkin wasn't involved. So there's a chance that he's going to ban assault weapons. That's what they're arguing here in the AP. Again, going back to the ground news, they lean left, right? All right. After that chamber flipped in November's election, the governor signaled to lawmakers in a speech on the session's opening day that he wanted to see bills that would tighten the penalties on criminals who would use guns rather than legislation further restricting the purchase and the use of the firearms. Okay, that's pretty clear. Criminals, rights of the law-abiding. It's not a hard thing. He says it openly in the session's opening session day. He openly telegraphed what he was going to lean towards. Okay, don't do more gun control, respect citizens' rights, and punish criminals. That's exactly what he said, but the left is out here saying, ooh, there's a small chance. It could happen. We can get assault weapons banned under Youngkin. I'm not saying that we will or we won't. I'm not in Virginia. I'm going to see what happens. But the main point of this video is if people had not gotten out and voted for Youngkin, if he had not come from behind win, we would be sitting in a position where it would be a guaranteed shoo-in to ban assault rifles in Virginia. Guaranteed. Mag bans? Guaranteed. But because people got out and voted and activated, they actually have a chance to stop this. And Youngkin can veto all of this. And the worst thing that'll come from that is they're going to make it a political issue in 2024. That's the worst thing possible. So the question that I have for you is, what's worse? Democrats being upset that you didn't sign their legislation that they passed, which is in their main narrative, but not your party's camp, or Republicans being pissed at you because you violated your oath of office and you violated their constituency promises. What do you think is more likely that he's going to do, right? Again, not Nostradamus. I'm just saying, had he not been in place and people did not vote, this would not even be a question. It would be a guarantee. That's an important thing to take away. But got one more thing for you. Let's see here. The administration's silence has left advocates on both sides of the issue uncertain of the final outcome. Quote, he basically telegraphed a message of, if you're going to send more gun control, I'm not going to be happy with it, but that's all we know, said Philip Van Cleve, president of the Virginia Citizens Defense League. Okay, if he said, I'm not going to be happy with it, and in the opening session he said, I don't want to see more gun control bills, I'm not saying that he's absolutely going to do one thing or the other, but it seems to be leaning in the direction against these bills. Now, again, they could pull a rabbit out of the hat and have something on him in the closet that I don't know about, and he might do it. All I'm saying is this would be a guarantee if there was not a Republican in office. And the last thing for you. On Wednesday, the Senate passed the legislation on a party line vote after a lengthy debate in which one GOP legislator warned it would ultimately be vetoed. A House version cleared the chamber last week, also along party lines. That's the whole point. They are trying to do this for a political purpose. From the Democrats' perspective, look at it from there. War game this out. They pass something their constituents want. There's no net negative for them. Governor Youngkin vetoes it. They get to campaign on it. He accepts it and signs it into law. They got a gun control win in the face of all adversity. There is no losing scenario for the Democrats on this. However, there's a guaranteed losing scenario for Youngkin, and that's if he signs these into law. You want to be active, you call your governor's office. If you live in Virginia, give him a ring, give him an email, give him a ping, Facebook, TikTok. Let's get crazy, Instagram. But the whole point here is it's only active when you're active, and it will only work and reinforce when you work and you reinforce. And that's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.